Hey everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome to the first Strain Zero devlog number one. This will hopefully be the first of a series of videos where you can see the progress that I'm making on Strain Zero. If you want to pause the video and click on the link down below, you can check it out right now, have a play around with it, and then come back to the video so you can see sort of the evolution of how it started and where we are right now. So just to catch everyone up, I started with my game dev journey basically in January of this year, 2025. So I've got about 8 months in now, and you can see some of the things here. This was back in January. One of the first things I did was I got myself a ThreeJS Journey membership, and just started going through that, learning Blender. I got myself Game Dev TV, some of the courses on there, a Simondev membership, um, and just as a bit of background, like I am a web programmer, like that's my main job. So the programming side of it wasn't new to me, but all the like the shaders, Blender, all that kind of stuff was completely new to me. So some of the things you're seeing here now is just those early stages. People are gonna kill me because one of the first things I tried to do was obviously I need to make a multiplayer game, simply because I love sort of real time. Like even as a web programmer, I love real time applications, anything that sort of updates UIs in real time, push notifications, WebSockets. I love that stuff. So the first thing I tried to obviously do was, oh, I need to make a multiplayer game, which I failed at miserably. But it sort of I got a few things working so I could understand, okay, where are the major bits that I need to put together, and what I need to do. Um, and just again, I didn't mention it at the beginning, I won't be putting any code into this video. It'll just be sort of clips of stuff that I've been posting on my social media on Blue Sky over the past few months, and then just talk over it. And then hopefully in the next one, if you have any questions or you want me to look at anything in particular, I can start looking at some of the code stuff. So in this case, this is one of the scenes. I think this is the first scene that I made from the Three.js Journey course. And then after that, I was like, okay, can I make my own room, which is kind of my office where I'm currently sitting. Um, and then after that, again, I've already been going for sort of 2 months now at the stage. And I was like, okay, this is kind of tutorial hell. I'm stuck because I can only follow tutorials. So what do I do? I need to start looking for just doing stuff on my own. So one of the first ideas that came to me was some kind of a skydiving game or a base jumping game. So in order to do that, I needed animations. Again, Game Dev TV, one of the courses covered the animations, the basic rigging. So that got me started. So then I ended up with this here, with RapierJS physics in Three.js. And then of course the first thing I got stuck on was, oh, I need ragdoll. It's like, so as a result of that, I kind of got it working in this, but it was way too stiff and it wasn't working properly. So then I got sidetracked again for like 2 weeks building a ragdoll library. I mean, it's not a library. It's basically it's probably like 200 lines of code. It's basically just basic colliders on RapierJS.
Lazy
There's a
ideas,
link in the
it's
description down
worth
below, so you
working
can actually get the
in
code
part.
for the
And now we can
ragdoll
add
demo
those
along
to
with the Blender file
ThreeJS
and the rig.
FB
Um,
crazy. This they don't
and here
forget. I
again,
know that's
my
how
code was
folks
getting really
forget.
messy.
Add
Three.js
library
Journey has a
object.
great
Play it out.
tutorial on what to do, like how to structure bigger projects. And the next evolution then was basically, okay, what do I do with my ragdoll that I had for my skydiving game? And it was basically, well, I want to be able to shoot it. So this is the first iteration of that, which actually looked pretty well. Um, and then moving on from that again, I need animations. What's the simplest animation I could possibly do? Let's go for zombies, because it's very basic. It's easy to animate. Um, so the next version of that, here's the zombie walk, that I managed to get working. This is still the whole animation setup pipeline is still fairly messy. So I definitely need to do a lot more on the animation side of things. But in the first instance, it worked really well for what I was trying to do. So you can see the result here. And then it kind of the whole strain zero. What am I doing? I didn't really have an idea to start with. It kind of just what was fun at the time. Okay, I need ragdoll. Um, I Now we've got zombies. I'm shooting zombies. The map started coming together then as well. What's the next thing I need? I started like on ThreeJS. There's a lot of tutorials about Perlin noise, shaders with Perlin noise, how to do terrain. So it all kind of naturally started coming together. In this case, now I've got the first bit of a UI that updates and like a death or a health state to kill the player. Um, of course, we're gonna need particle physics. That comes along with now I need a grenade. Of course, we need grenades. This is all still on the client at the moment. And then the next step again was, well, at this point, I had a lot more knowledge. So can I get a multiplayer networked version of this working? And it actually worked pretty well straight away. There's a library, I'll link to it as well in the description, called Geckos.io, I think, which is WebRTC UDP. Node.js, like you get a Node.js server, and you can just instantly start using it. It's amazing. So I had that working pretty quickly, and then of course the code started getting super messy again. How do I sync player state on the server? This was the first iteration of sort of the zombie states, physics states that are handled on the server. So both the basically all clients can see the same state. That actually works really well. Here we go now again, Simondev, the grass shader, which was I love that. That was one of the first things I seen, but I couldn't get it to work in my first month from Simondev. So this is the next iteration of that. I've added like a trail behind the player so that I can push the grass down where the zombies or where I'm walking through it. Of course, I need the grenades, like the grass reacting to grenades. So there's like a bit of a blast radius on the grenades. Like when people are walking through the grass, you can see the trail behind them. Again, this is kind of it's mainly just for learning, but it's still cool to see. And then here's the first iteration of the server having chunks that load around the player, and then dynamically deload again based on where the players are. So you could have multiple players in different spots, and then they each have their own chunks loaded around them, and that works really well. And then the next part of that again was we're back to the Perlin noise. We have the chunks being loaded. How do we get a terrain going along with the RapierJS physics mesh? So this is the first instance of that. It's all working in chunks as well. I'll put a link to the Perlin noise and the noise tutorial that I based this off because it's a very good read, and it's fairly easy to follow. Which is so there hasn't been like there's nothing really that I developed specifically for this. I'm kind of just following tutorials and putting bits together at this point. But it is working really well. So at this point you can see that the zombies are starting kind of spawning in the air. There's no physics on them yet. There's no physics on the player. At this point I was testing the server to see, if I have massive draw distances, for example, I think in this case I put it to like 1,000 chunks around the player, and then each chunk was 40 units in ThreeJS, so you had about 40,000 units loaded around the player, which obviously wouldn't be drawn because of the draw distance around or the draw distance from the camera in ThreeJS, but it's just to test it. Does it work? And I mean, obviously performance is really bad here, but it was just to test the concept. And then here's the Simondev grass again, and making it work on the terrain so that it's not flat and it's actually adjusted to the height of the terrain. It works with the grenades. I've got my first vegetation in there, which is the tree. And in this case already we have the zombies that are aligned to the terrain. Mostly, some of them are still floating. here's the first. This is one of the ThreeJS journey tutorials as well of sort of interacting with HTML and ThreeJS, or sorry, the canvas, and it's just sort of picking up your first items that will then end up going into the inventory. And this is sort of where it's currently at. So this is how far I've gotten in about 8 months now. So now I have my sort of vegetation spawner. I've got the chunks that load and deload around the player, and the grass and everything that goes with it, and basically just the basic movement, and just the various states that the player could be in, like shooting state, moving, um, and that's really it. So if you want to check that out, click on the link down below, and I'll keep all the other links as well, that you can click through it and have a read. And hopefully, if you have any questions, throw them in the description down below or into the comments down below, and I will cover them in the next video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.